Hello everyone, my name is Deckerlink, the trained unprofessional, and welcome back to Major Minor. On the last episode, we started with we didn't start with the bunker in the last episode, did we? But we did a couple of them, but because they talk for fucking ever, let's just go into it. Let's not take any time, because if it's what I'm thinking it's going to do is like go through all the fucking people, then we're going to be in this bunker for a long fucking time, so let's just go. Looks like I might be getting closer to the surface. The air is less stuffy, and I feel a slight breeze. It's nice to feel the outside air for once more. I turn a corner and notice Inumi standing there. He's writing on the green wall with some chalk. I look closer. He's doing math. It's the same equation that saved our lives. Is he trying to figure out how to solve the problem? After all, Akron gave him the answer earlier. Maybe he wanted to learn it on his own.
Hi.
I greet him back with a small wave. I ask him what he's up to.
Just doing some math. I have an exam coming up soon. I don't want to fail.
Seems to be taking his studies seriously. I ask him if he has some time to chat. After all, we might be here for a while.
Yeah, sure.
Why'd they put him doing math on a wall in a room with bumpy walls? Or plenty of other rooms you could have chosen. Ah, jeez.
I have some questions for you, actually. Akron told me a story about his sister. He said that she had powers, but he said that you two do as well? Does that mean you and Akron are bad?
I laugh, but this does make Inumi look confused. Let him know that having powers doesn't make you bad. It's what you do with them that decides your allegiance. And in this case, Akron and I weren't evil. In fact, we were dedicated to bringing Max down. I let him know that she'll pay for what she did.
I wish it didn't have to be like that. You shouldn't have to make someone pay, especially not for being bad. The goal should be something different, like not having bad people at all. Everyone would still be alive in that case.
That's true, but it's not so simple. In fact, I know that's not what he really wants. He just wants his brother to be alive again. You can never rid the world of bad intentions.
Yeah, sorry. You're right. We always had so much fun together. But now I'll get sent to another home. I really wish I could stay with the tour. It was finally starting to feel like home. I mean, a real one, with a real family. If only Bro was given some powers. He's all about saving people, you know. Just like he saved me a few years ago.
What do you mean by get sent to another home? And for that matter, how did Clay save him? I asked him what he meant by that out of curiosity. My bond with Inumi was strong enough, yay! He puts that piece of chalk in his pocket. He looks a little nervous or hesitant.
I promised I'd never tell anybody this. Even Singe said I never could. But I think I can trust you, William. We've been through a lot, haven't we? And we haven't even known each other that long. I really wish you could have met Bro. Me and Clace have a lot in common. Maybe that's why we got along so well. We both lost our parents when we were young. Right? But he had an important life ahead of him. He got caught up in fame and success, so he didn't have the trouble that I did. When my parents died, I was put in a home. I didn't really have any other family, but I think they rushed to put me there. It was like they wanted to get rid of me. They didn't care who looked after me. My foster parents were really rude to me. There must have been a lot of kids like me. It's like they have to move fast. The government doesn't care about... My foster parents ended up getting divorced. I don't think my foster father was happy. He started to take his anger out on me. I had a bunch of old pictures I loved. Pictures of me and my real parents. I even had letters from them, too. I didn't develop as fast as I should have, so we practiced writing a lot. I had to learn how to do all the letters. I came home from a walk one night and I saw my foster father tearing them apart. "You have to move on," he said to me. But I think he was talking to himself. He must have missed my foster mom. That's the night he got really angry. He started to hit me a lot. He kept telling me it was my fault, that I got between him and his wife. But I knew that wasn't true. They signed up for this program. They knew what they were getting into.
That's remarkably extreme. I'm so sorry that he had to go through that. Some people just aren't fit to be parents. I sighed with him, telling him that he did nothing wrong.
I ran from him and hid inside a closet. He took his phone and called the police. They came and helped me immediately. They said they'd find me another home, but I was really scared, so I ran away. I didn't want more parents like that. I wanted my real parents back. I took a photo with me when I ran. It was ripped in half, but still fixable. I remember finding myself in a back alley. I was hugging a photo and crying. I cried so much that I could barely see. Eventually, someone found me. They asked if I was okay. I said I was, but I was lying. It was the first time I met Bro. He asked me what was wrong. He thought that maybe I was lost. I guess I was, to be honest. But that's not why I was crying. I told him everything that happened. It seemed like he didn't believe me, but it's just because he was shocked. He told me that he knew what I went through. He lost his parents at a young age too, and he'd been moving around the world. He didn't have a real home either. I showed him the picture of my parents. He took one half and just stared at it. Before I knew it, he was crying too. We cried in that alley for a long time. It was like we both had the same wound. I started to hear booing from somewhere. That's when he told me he was a singer. He missed his show just to talk with me. They were booing since he wasn't there.
So he canceled an entire concert just to help Inumi? I don't know if that's noble or irresponsible. Either way, leaving Inumi alone would have been bad. It seems like they bonded over childhood tragedies.
I heard his music before on the radio, but I didn't know what he looked like. I was surprised when he told me who he was. Those people are always so happy. They have lots of fans and money. You don't ever picture them crying. And I never really saw him cry since then. So it must have been a really rare thing. He promised me that things would be okay. He said I'd find a family again. Sometimes you just have to wait. He told me all about his new family. He toured the world with awesome people. They all looked out for one another. That's what I wanted in life. That was exactly what I wanted in life. I deserved better than what I had. It wasn't my fault my parents died. Why should I have to suffer for it? I was stupid and asked him to bring me. I wanted to have a family like that. He laughed and said he couldn't do that. But for some reason I didn't believe him. When he left the alley, I followed him. It was dark and I didn't want to be alone. He said he'd watch me until morning, but then he'd have to bring me somewhere. He was on a tour and had to get going. That's the night I met Singe. He was so mad at Clace. He ditched his entire audience. Singe said Clace was just starting out. He couldn't afford publicity like this. He'd need a really good excuse. So Clace told him everything, how we met in the alley and how I needed help, even how he ended up crying together. The excuse was good enough for Singe, but the audience needed a reason. They deserved to know what happened. I mean, they paid to see Clace after all. I'd be mad too if I wasted my money, especially if I had no idea why. Clace said that he'd be open. He'd tell them exactly what happened. Plus, it would come off as good PR. Stopping to help an orphan boy? It doesn't get any nicer than that. I remember them getting into a big fight. Singe thought it wouldn't be good enough. Clace would have to do something more. That's when he decided to take me along. But it seemed really weird to me. Was I just an excuse for the audience? Because just a moment ago he said no. I was both grateful and confused. It couldn't be worse than my last home. That's why I said he liked saving others. I don't know where I'd be otherwise. Maybe at another home, getting hit again. Those government programs just don't even care. You're just another number they want to go lower. They'll put you almost anywhere they can. So I guess bro adopted me. And it probably seems weird and sudden, but you'd understand if you were us. Two victims can connect on a deep level. You know exactly what their pain is like. I felt his and he felt mine. But he was in a position to help, and I couldn't just turn him down, so I ended up going along. Singe made a statement to the media. He also filed all the paperwork. The audience was very understanding, especially since they'd rescheduled the show, so none of their money would go to waste. In the end, it seemed like everybody won. That's how I got involved in the tour. That was a few years ago now. Clay, Shock, and Rocker got way more famous. It does make a lot of sense. It explains why Inumi thinks they're brothers. But I have to agree, it was a little odd. It's a big life change for just one night. But I can't begin to assume what they felt. Perhaps in the moment, it was the right thing to do. The world is full of weird stories like that. It only mattered that everybody was happy in the end. It was really cool to travel the world. I got to see all sorts of neat things. And I got to see how cool Bro really was. The audience always cheered for him as soon as he stepped out on stage. I wanted to be like that one day too. I looked up to him. He taught me so much. Even helped me get some homeschooling done. I still had to graduate like everybody else, but I had a big happy family, just like I always wanted. Well, except for when Singe is mad. He laughs softly, and I do as well. Bro even taught me how to write properly. I was finally at the level I should have been, so I started to write letters to my parents. I knew that they'd never get them, but it made me feel happy either way, like I was actually talking to them. I remade the letters my foster dad ruined, but this time they were perfect, just like my parents would have wanted. So I taped the ripped picture together, and I keep it framed by my bed all the time. I say goodnight to them in heaven. Clay's always said that I'd see them again, but I can look forward to seeing him too. We'll be one happy family up there. Until then, I'll write to him as well. He walks away and goes back to the wall. He resumes his math after pulling out the chalk. So that's the story of how they all got together, and I guess how they got pulled apart. He told me he was studying, but he definitely wasn't. I saw the equation, I knew what he was doing, but I wasn't about to call him on his bluff. Especially not after he opened up on me like that. So I wish him good luck as I start to leave. I look at the time on my phone, almost midnight. The battle for the Ark would soon come to a close. Knowing that, I walk back the way I came. I must have talked to everybody here by now. Oh yeah, because the others were in another bunker, he said. Akron mentioned that Daz and Singe were elsewhere. There you go. I hope that they were okay, since times were tough. Speaking of tough times, something catches my eye. There's a chalk drawing on the wall beside me. It was a picture of Inumi and Clace holding hands. Text underneath reads, "I miss you, bro." It's the last thing I'd see before I leave him behind. I should probably make my way back to Akron. It was almost midnight. He'd almost won. Ryo was sure to appear, so I wanted to be there.
I needed to get I needed to get to Terra and end this for good. I didn't run into anyone on my way back. Perhaps they branched out and searched for food. And for a moment, I wonder where Jade was. Akron didn't mention her. She must be with Singe. Maybe Ryo would know what happened to me earlier. And if he was giving up the Ark, I need answers now. There's a chance I might never see him again. I turned a few corners and arrived back where I started. I take a deep breath before I enter the room. This might be my final opportunity to get some answers. When I enter the room, I see Akron standing there. He's staring at a pocket watch, counting down the time. All of his hard work was about to bear fruit. He turns around and gives me a wide smirk. As midnight approached, it was clear that he won. It's hard to believe this is all coming to a close. So, this is it, huh? Take down the corrupt leader of Armstrong, become the ruler of life and death. All in a day's work, it would seem. He laughs like it was all so easy. And maybe it was, at least to him. He's one of the smartest men I have ever met. Or would cunning be the better word? Well, I'm sure that many words would describe this man, but soon enough he'd be the Ark's new master. At least he'd be more open with me than the last one. Just under a minute now. I'd love to see the look on Max's face. And it wasn't karma, it was me. It was a lesson long in the making. You hear about killing to seize power, but death is not always the answer. She bastardized our parents' tenets. Progression through protection. They'd be ashamed of her rulership. Max and the Ark would be a disaster. Her philosophy is proof of that. She'd usher in a new dark age. I didn't do this just for me. I did it to save the world from suffering. You could say that I'm a savior, too. I'll do what my parents always wanted. I'll make this world a better place. A place where I'm proud to be an Armstrong. He looks at the pocket watch one more time. I could tell by the look on his face that we were close. Time to see if this was worth fighting for. Press my back against the wall and ready myself. I've experienced this enough to know what it feels like. Akron remains still, standing tall and proud. I guess in his mind he had nothing left to fear. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna fucking happen. I scream out in agony and clutch my chest. I expect to feel the pain, but it's still so much. I mean, disbelief that Akron is unaffected. He stands there, fists clenched, panting heavily. How could he withstand so much pain? I look at his eyes and a spot of faint glisten. Perhaps it would be best if I do what he did. I stand up straight, focus on my breathing. We stand there, united, both waiting for Ryo. I feed off his energy until I no longer feel the suffering. There he is. Congratulations, Akron. You've won. He turns to me and smiles softly. Yeah, it's nice to see you too, William. I knew you wouldn't be too far behind. Akron and I exchange glances as if in waiting. So, what happens next? I'm sure that there's lots to teach me. That would be an understatement. We will have lots to talk about together, but I have to talk to William as well. Do you think we could go back to the Ark? I feel safer discussing things there, and I'd like to see my home one last time. I look at Akron and he nods. I see no problem granting Ryo this request. It's not like things would be any different than normal. Thank you very much. I note that this time he asks us for permission. Definitely different than the Ryo I first met. It was nice to know that we finally had a say in things. Almost like we completed some rite of passage. I have a question, though. One last thing before we go? Of course, what is it? You can see a lot from the Ark, right? You have a grasp on what we're all doing? If you're observant enough, yeah. It's a skill that you hone in time. Do you know what happened to Max? And if Singe and Daz are safe? Rest assured your plan succeeded. That's why I'm visiting you now. Max is behind bars, everyone is safe. Good. Let's hope she doesn't escape. Are you taking the power away from her? I think I'll let her keep it, actually. What? She'll be in prison her whole life. All it would do is elongate her sentence. She could use it to break free. I mean... No, you're stupid. I doubt she'll make use of it at all. Besides, control of time means nothing, especially not when you're a prisoner. I know that feeling all too well. She can use the power to try to escape, but it'll only drive her insane. Freedom will always just be out of reach. I wouldn't worry too much about her. She's useless where she is. That's probably what you wanted anyway. Akron nods, showing no facial expression. I'm unsure of how he's taking this information, but if I could take a guess, I'm sure he was happy. Well then, shall we go? I can't suspend places for long, remember? And if you don't want to be trapped like this... we all agree and await our travel to the Ark. But I tell Rayo that I want answers too. I was more than a little confused at recent events. Yes, of course, you'll get answers. There's nothing left for me to hold back. All of our plans have come to fruition. What does he mean by our plans? Was he playing at something too? Everyone fucking is. Both of you, close your eyes. When you open them, you'll witness change. And the gears will make their final turn. I noticed that Akron doesn't seem to have a gear necklace. I close my eyes, keep them tightly shut. It isn't long before we're taken to the Ark. I don't even have to open my eyes. I know the feeling. It's almost like this place was my second home. But if everything was truly coming to an end, this might be the last chance I get to see it. I have to make sure I leave with satisfaction. The true nature of everything had to be revealed. I take a deep breath before I open my eyes. Welcome to your new home, Akron. At least now I can say goodbye. William, too, as it's our last time here. He gestures broadly at the vast space surrounding us. So many memories. I hope you'll create some good ones, too. You have lots of responsibility here. I'm ready for this burden, Rayo. Let's start with bringing some people back. There were those who didn't need to die. Of course, but not so fast. I have to teach you how things work. Otherwise, you'd only cause damage. The Ark is a very intricate machine. It requires focus and resolve, in quantities you can't even imagine. I see. So, what do we do first? There's no need to hesitate any further. Is Akron getting impatient? I don't think I've seen him like this before. I can't blame him, though, if his goal is so close. Don't worry, we'll begin soon. I need to talk to William first. His journey is coming to an end. You've claimed your victory, Akron. You've seized your destiny. William still needs to do so. I understand. The Savior's duty is not yet complete. But what exactly is that duty? I have reason to believe it affects me. The Ark may even be at stake. I don't want my rule to be cut short, Rayo. No need to worry, it won't be. The force of death can never be defeated. There will always be an Ark in place. And as such, it will always need a ruler. He won't be going anywhere anytime soon. You'll be here for the long haul, Akron. But as far as the nature of William's task, I'm afraid I don't even know that much. There's only one person who does. And that's who I'll be sending him to. I'd relax while you can, Akron. After that, I have to teach you everything. Very well, take your time. I won't intrude, I'll just wait around. Hey, don't be so hasty. There is something I can give you. It might help you pass the time. My sight. Rayo snaps his fingers and Akron grunts in pain. He stumbles back, his eyes shooting wide open. What is this? I can't see anything, Rayo! He starts panicking, looking around frantically. On the contrary, you can see everything. You're just taking in a lot of information. Relax and let it flow at a normal pace. Use it to watch over those you love. I won't be too long with William. When I get back, I'll give you more. I can see so many people. But wait, this isn't Earth. What am I looking at, Rayo? You must be watching over Terra. Perhaps you desire something there. Don't worry, it fluctuates at first. Enjoy the view, Akron. I won't keep you waiting for too long. Prepare for some rigorous training. He smirks at me as Akron slowly fades away. I don't know where he went, but we're alone now. Perhaps it was my chance to get some final answers. I'm sorry for the dishonesty I've given you. You deserve the truth from now on. And that's exactly what you'll get. After we're done talking, I'll go back. Akron has to go through lots of training. I need to feel comfortable when I leave. I just didn't want him listening in. This started between just the two of us. It's only fitting that it ends that way. He gives me a warm smile before he continues. I see you've met Nami and Nagi. They're a force of pure evil, as well as the start of my story. They might seem relatively new to you, but for me, it's been quite a while. Let me see how I can explain this. Everything I've done, I did to help you, including my surrender of the Ark. It was the last thing I wanted to do. But there is a great power within you, as both Velasquez and Nagi have stated. Power enough to deliver salvation. Or destruction, if put in the wrong hands. But that is what Nami and Nagi strive for. And to be honest, they almost had it. The moment Nagi drove his blade into you, a massive burst of energy was released. It made even my powers look infantile. They sought to harness the power within you, likely to achieve some nefarious goal. Destruction of an infinite scope, I'd wager. Most people wouldn't be able to do this, but they possess a special set of weapons that allow them to use this energy. What is the energy, you ask? That is something I can't tell you. Velasquez will have to explain it. Regardless of that, it was unleashed. For a moment, they had won. They could achieve anything they wanted. At least, that's what they thought. They were unaware of my existence. Velasquez hid me here for a reason. The power spread like a huge wave and had potential to span the entire galaxy. But the first place it touched was here. I felt it within me. I was in awe of how strong it was. How could one person house this power? But I had to snap back to reality. They weren't unleashing it peacefully. I had to do something to help. When it reached me, I tapped into it. The powers it gave me were godlike. But I wouldn't be blinded like them. I couldn't have our universe destroyed. Extremely counterproductive, if you ask me. So I did what I was best at doing.
Where is this guy?
It amplified my ability to play with time. I was able to suspend all of Terra. A temporary fix, but a fix nonetheless. Their wave of destruction came to an halt. But I had to formulate a plan. I couldn't keep Terra frozen forever. I needed to save all of you from Nagi. But I couldn't do that in suspension. I'm limited in my physical interactions. I realized I'd need to leave the Ark. Not temporarily, but for good. And I'd take a sliver of my power with me. Enough to buy a few hours at least. Your wounds needed tending to. And you all had to get to safety. Normally, leaving the Ark is impossible, but with this amplified power, I could. I just needed to find a fitting ruler. But now I'm getting a tad ahead of myself. I didn't want to force this duty upon you, so I sent you back. I gave you a choice. Explains why I ended up in a supermarket right after. That was the one burning question. That was one of the burning questions in my mind. I knew you wouldn't back down. You're not that kind of person. But it wouldn't be right to assume. I'm glad you agreed to partake, William. It meant my plan was free to move forward. Watch you and find myself a new ruler. I picked Akron and Max, of course. I let them battle for a spot on the Ark. I'm sure you know how that ended up. I wish I didn't have to give up the Ark. I rather like it here, I really do. But it was necessary to protect you. I have to say, Akron is resourceful. He used this contest to set up his sister, expose her as corrupt, and put her in jail. using the world tour as a front, no less. I was honored to witness such genius. I knew that the Ark had a worthy ruler. So there you have it, my game plan. I used your own power to freeze Terra, I gave you a choice, and held a contest. Akron used this contest to his advantage, he achieved his own goal and won the Ark. Free of ownership, I can now go to Terra. I'll save you and your friends from Nagi, then you can journey right to Velasquez. He'll help your journey come to an end. What? I know it's all confusing, isn't it? The timelines don't exactly add up. I mean, what was the inciting incident? Was it you getting stabbed by Nagi? Was it you winning the contest? It seemed they happened simultaneously, but they couldn't happen without each other. One required the other, and vice versa. I've debated it a long time myself, and I've realized that I'll never know. I could never comprehend this power, nor the scope of what it could accomplish. I mean, why a pop idol's world tour? It seemed like a peculiar venue, but I only recreated what I knew. And that's where it gets interesting. Does that mean I created it to begin with? A self-fulfilling prophecy, so to speak? I'll probably never know. Let me see what else I need to tell you. I have to make sure I don't hold back. He tilts his head up and ponders. My mind is still trying to process all of this. This all happened because Nagi stabbed me? The world tour, the contest, the killings, all of it was to help Ryo break free? He wanted the chance to save us from Nami and Nagi? The final use of his power would be spent on all of us. I can't believe he's been hiding this the whole time. Oh, and of course, one more thing. Something that may or may not be a shock. Terra houses the souls of the dead. So there never really was a ritual. It was just to test their loyalty. I sent whoever Max killed that night. And they handed these people over to Player, and as we've seen, they're all free now. They're likely alive and well on Terra. Even Endymion and Conrad were resourceful. They used this contest in their own way, to gain Player's trust and then take him down. Everybody so far has achieved their goals, that is, except for you, William. You must pay one last visit to Terra. Velasquez will tell you everything, and you can finally become the savior. This is what you were meant to do. Perhaps you can bring back the lost. If I could turn back time with your power, I can't even imagine what you're capable of. And everything that's happened so far, it was all to save you from Nagi's blade. In that instant, it all came together. All the anger, the hate, the sorrow, the fates of those who didn't make it, they paved the path to this very moment. Terra still remains in stasis. I'm going to rescue you, William. You and all of your friends. It's time for you to save Terra. Don't let all of this sacrifice be in vain. That's the only thing I want to return. Please, live out your duty as savior. The lives of so many rest on your shoulders. I watched what happened in the bunker. Some of your friends opened up to you, but their stories are in no way unique. Everybody has a story of their own, but without you, they will end. Please, help all of them continue. Starts fading away and I reach out to him. You know, I'm gonna miss it here. I forgot what this place looked like, but then I gave Akron my sight. It's beautiful, isn't it? He smiles at me and fades away even more. And for the first time, I got to see you. Now I know what our savior looks like. And what a shitty look. It's just like, wish I would have screened the applicants a little bit closer. And he looks like hope. And before I know it, he's gone. Off to save me and complete his mission. The mission he's been waiting so long to complete. A quest to save the Savior. And the next thing I know, I'm back here. Ryo must have sent me away after our little chat. But for one thing, I feel none of the inertia. That means I'm not going to Terra, but Oh shit. Time to do some explaining, I imagine.
Hey, William. Is what that man said true? That you're gonna save a lot of people?
I'm taken aback by Keela's sudden appearance, but after seeing Rocker here, it's not so odd. And he seems to know all about what Ryo said, so he must have been seeing things from my eyes too. Ryo said Terra houses the souls of the dead, and if that was the case, then why is Keela here? This must probably have something to do with what Terra Velasquez is going to tell me.
If that's true, could you save me? I feel kind of lonely here, you know? It's just me and millions of voices. It's driving me insane to hear all of that. Thankfully, it stopped when you came, and I really am glad to see you again.
I nod at him in return and tell him it's true. Everything that Ryo said was the truth. I've been juggling with that fate for a while now.
Wow, that's kind of heavy. Although Max did hint at it, over the loudspeaker I mean. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you it was her. She's threatened to blow up the building. I had to hide it in order to keep you safe. But I'm glad that she's behind bars. She doesn't deserve to walk free anymore. She's done far too much to hurt people. He clenches his fists in visible anger. I'm noticing his hands look a little more like fins, or like webbed something. I don't know. His hands look weird, is what I'm saying. I'd never believe this if I wasn't here. I feel like I'm stuck in purgatory, so I have to open my mind up a little bit. But all of this is so extraordinary. To be honest, my brother would have loved it. He was really into all of that anime stuff.
His brother, huh? I believe he mentioned that back on day one. On the train, he said he was visiting his brother.
Yeah, I did say that, didn't I? I kind of regret it now, to be honest. A lot of the stuff I told you was false, and Max knew about all my lies. She said you'd all hate me if I told you, so opening up was the last thing I wanted. But at the same time, we're friends. I mean, we won the same contest after all. We were going to have so much fun. I don't even know why you picked Rook. I'm not gonna hate you for it. I lied to you a lot. I deserved it.
You didn't deserve it. No one deserves to be blown the fuck up.
But now that I know the truth, that it might be possible to save me, I feel like you deserve the truth. It's up to you to decide, William, if you think I'm worth saving. After all, I've been a huge fool.
Much to my dismay, he starts to fade away. He seems to think that it's my fault and panics. That perhaps I didn't want to hear his story.
No, please! Let me tell you! I want you to know why I lied!
He looks around frantically and reaches out towards me. I call out to him and reach out forward in return. Hey, it was strong enough! Everyone was strong enough! Oh, that's great! And he comes back into view with a large smile. Perhaps we were close enough to maintain a connection. He makes a deep breath, or perhaps a sigh of relief. Now it would be possible for me to tell him his story, for him to tell me his story.
Well, it's kind of a long one.
Well, great, another fucking long episode of Major Minor.
It involves how I won the contest. It all started a few years ago. I know you won't hate me for this. I had my reasons, as you'll find out. And all I ever did it without a love. You see, I kind of had a brother. He used to be my best friend. We were inseparable no matter what. Some people say twins are like that. He was older than me, but by minutes. Our parents would always confuse us. Oh, those twin cliches, they're real. It was almost comedic at times. But then my brother got the diagnosis. It was cancer and terminal too. The doctors gave him 5 years to live. He couldn't even leave the hospital. But I'd visit him every single day. He'd always have his earphones in.
It's the song, it's to Xanakin playing.
I told him it was rude, and he didn't care. He liked the sound of pop music, he said. It was always so upbeat and bubbly. It made him happy and hopeful again. He was a really big fan of Clace. But he also liked Shock and Rocker, and had all of their CDs and everything. But as time went on, his condition worsened. The hope he found through music was a dud. Nothing could pull him from what he had. That is, until the contest was announced. He was so full of happiness and joy. He'd get to meet the people he idolized. But at that point, he was bedridden, so every day I'd buy 2 cans. We'd share them, hoping that he'd win. Of course, it was all a pipe dream. I still remember buying the last cans. I went to see him, and his room was empty. I wasn't stupid, you know. I knew exactly what that meant. He'd passed away. My brother was gone. But that's where I've been dishonest. And this is what I've kept from all of you. My brother, his name was Keela. That's right, I've been lying all along. My real name is Eddie. And I'm sorry.
Like, what? This wasn't the real Keela? Is that what he's been trying to tell me right now? Is that what he's trying to tell me right now? I stare at him blankly, utterly shocked and confused. It even changed the name.
The day I found his room empty, I didn't know what to do with myself. I sat there anyway and drank the pop star. And wouldn't you know it, I won. I sat there crying for hours. Why couldn't it have been a day earlier? I decided not to let it go to waste. I wouldn't rob him of his final dream. He deserved to experience what he wanted. So, that's all there is to it. I took his ID and pretended to be him. We were twins, so it wasn't really hard. This way, he'd get what he wanted. I know it doesn't make much sense, but it did in my head at the time. Starts to cry in front of me. So he came here to fulfill his brother's dying wish. And that's really noble of him. I respect that. I'm still taken aback by his true identity. There's more to it, you know. Initially, the hospital hid it from me, but I found out that he took his own life. Not everybody can stay strong with cancer. There was so many stories of people winning. It makes you forget that they can give up. It turned out he lost all of his hope. He thought we'd never win the contest, and you'd never guess why. He looks away from me like he's scared to continue. It's because you found the first can. He felt like his odds were getting worse, until he felt like he didn't stand a chance. Wait, I was responsible for Keela's suicide. He gave up hope because I found the first can? I almost can't believe what I'm hearing right now. You know, I really hate Tokyo. I hate maid cafes. I hate everything. And most of all, I can't stand Clay's. His music reminds me of my brother. The smile he had when he listened to it. The smile I'd never see again. And it really is because of you. He clenches his fist and trembles angrily. But there's really nothing I can do. My brother doesn't have room for hate. It's not in his nature to hold a grudge. So it's not fair to lash it on you. And if I'm being him, I have to play the part. That's why I've been so overly friendly. Everything about Japan would excite him, so I tried to act that way too. This was for him, not for me. I was completely conflicted. Should I be kind to you like he would? Or should I be mad like I would? I guess it's pretty obvious what I chose. I'm going to continue doing it. I'll be your friend for his sake. Everything I've done was for him. Even now that I'm dead, I'll still do it. I'm never giving up this act of mine. When we drink the pop star together, we'd always talk about potential winners, people he'd like to spend the tour with. And he said they'd be great friends. In fact, he said he'd keep in touch. A tour like this makes people bond. But look at how it turned out. Maybe it's better he wasn't here. He wanted happiness, not this mess. Even if he lived, he would have died. That is assuming that you still chose him. I forgive you for letting me die, though. I lied to everybody. I was sketchy. I don't blame you for favoring Rook. So that's the truth. I hated almost everything about this tour. And I hated it before it all went to hell. But I've been doing it all for Keela. Because it's what he would have wanted. There isn't room for what I want. Except, there's one little thing. If you're open to hearing it, that is. I nod almost instinctively. I still can't believe what this is weird situation I'm in. He holds me responsible for Keela's death, but at the same time is pretending to be him. I can't imagine being in his situation, staring at someone you hate and being their friend, doing things you hate, but pretending to love them all in the name of his lost brother. You're going to bring back Keela. Then I'll forgive you for everything. He'll be able to live his dream. He'll be able to befriend you, too. And he'll see Tokyo like he's always wanted. He'll get to what you took away from him. And this is a demand, not a request. I don't even care if you leave me here. He gives me a piercing gaze and I nod. If it was all within my power, I'd do it. He has my word that I'd bring Keela back. Good. And you're taking him to karaoke. One of his favorite things. Starts to fade away, but I don't call out to him. Something tells me that this isn't like last time. Eddie didn't have anything else he needed to say. I nod at him in complete understanding of his words. Thank you, William. With your help, he can find life again. That's something I could never hate you for. But if you could bring us both back, well, I'd truly appreciate that. I'd get to see him smile again. Well, damn! And with that, he completely fades away. I knew it wouldn't be long until I was in Terra now, but there was one thing I knew above all else. If I truly had this power inside of me, I would bring back everyone that died and more. There would be no more suffering in these worlds. Everyone would be united with those they had lost. Yes, that was a fine goal indeed. I close my eyes as my journey to Terra comes to an end. I enter the world with a smile and a newfound resolve. This time I'd carry out my duty as the savior. Thank you all very much for watching this episode of Major Minor. God, what? Whoa. Forgot my ears were up there. Oh, the emotions and shit. Oh, 11 true ending flags. I wonder how many I need to get the true ending. Thank you all very much for watching. Jesus, this episode. In the next one, we're going to do Terra stuff. And we'll see how much longer there is left in this game. People keep saying I'm super close, then some people say that I'm not close at all. I don't fucking know. So thank you all very much for watching. I've been the trained on professional, speaking for myself and the squeak. When I say, fare thee well. Bye, everyone. God damn.